So I left it at that. But when my better half came home, who was Thai, she read me the riot act. And the reason she read me the riot act is because I didn't park my car properly. And I said, how did you know I didn't park my car properly? Because they called her. They called her to tell her that Farang didn't park his car properly. Guys, and it's a warm welcome back to the channel. This is Alpha Omega Daily, the channel that brings you my heartfelt feelings about living in Thailand. And I just want to say from the outset, you might get the impression from some of the videos I put up on this channel that I don't like living in Thailand. I love living in Thailand. The people are fantastic, the food is fantastic, the weather's fantastic, everything is fantastic. Well, not everything is fantastic, but nowhere there's nowhere you're going to live you're going to say that everything's fantastic. It's just the way things are. And I'm pointing out to you in this video some of the things that are not fantastic. And it's not a criticism of this country, it's just the way things are. And it's not necessarily by and large, it may be specific to where I am now and what I'm talking about now. But I'll just go into it, I'll get straight into it, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I live in an apartment complex in the kind of a central area of Bangkok. And it's completely contrived. When I say contrived, you know what I mean. It's man-made. We're in the shade. We're in the shade. Well, I won't say 24 hours a day because the sun isn't out 24 hours a day. But when the sun is out, you don't see it. I'm going to pan around and show you what I mean here. You see palm trees? Well, they're there for a reason. Those palm trees are there for a reason, and the reason they're there is to shield the residents from the sun as much as possible. And it means that your apartment, it's dark. Watch this. That apartment there, for example, completely in the shade. Completely in the shade. And it goes all the way around. Now, I'm not saying this is the case for every apartment block. Of course it's not. But this is where Thai people live. This is not for Farang. This is for the Thais, and this is the way they like it. There's nobody in the pool because it's daytime. They're like vampires. They only come out at night. But that's besides the point. And there's a reason for that too. They don't like their skin to get... I said it before. I don't like to sound repetitive, you see. But I'll tell you something that happened to me yesterday. I picked up my son from school and I parked the car in the car park, and I was in a hurry. I had stuff to do. I got to get my young lad's only 4, I got to get him out of the car, you know, we've got kids and blah blah blah. Anyway, I neglected to pay attention to how I parked my car. And about an hour later, I was busy, I work online, I was busy working on my computer. I'm on the ground level here, as the Thais call it, the first floor. We call it the ground floor. But anyway, that's another piece of confusing kind of architecture, if you like, or architectural terminology. You call it, if you're from Ireland, we call it the ground floor, and if you're from America, I think you call it the first floor, and the Thais call it the first floor. Anyway, but I'm on the ground floor, or the first floor, if you want to call it that. And security came up to me, and they couldn't speak a word of English, and they had it translated on their phone. And here's more or less, not verbatim, but more or less verbatim, what it said. Please be considerate of other residents and park your car properly. Now, you probably don't believe your ears, but I'll repeat it. Please be considerate of other residents and park your car properly. I mean, what is properly? Now, I was aware that I wasn't right on line on the yellow lines. I was about, I'd say, okay, fair enough. The tyres were on, you know, the lines for each parking bay or parking slot. Well, they're basically marked out here with yellow lines. And I knew it. I was way over on one side, but not interfering on the other parking bay. I was literally, my tyres were on the line, and my wheels weren't straight. Now, I covered this in a previous video, and I'm not going to repeat myself on it, but this is just what happened. And I told security, look, I'll get to it. I'm busy now, but I'll say, give me a couple of hours and I'll move the car. And this is about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, so it wasn't necessarily rush hour. People weren't rushing home, and the parking spaces were not at the premium that they would be at rush hour. So I left it at that. But when my better half came home, who is Thai, she read me the riot act. And the reason she read me the riot act is because I didn't park my car properly. And I said, how did you know I didn't park my car properly? Because they called her. They called her to tell her that Farang didn't park his car properly. Can you imagine how infuriating that is? I mean, I made a video, and a few other people have done the same thing, about how you can feel invisible in Thailand. And that really represents that feeling. I'll call it that emotion, because you get emotional about it. So they called her, and she said to me, why did you not park your car properly? She said, do you want to live here? If you want to live here, you've got to think of other people. What's the big deal? And you see, my argument on that is, it's not called double parking, but I'm going to show you. It's double standards. So this is the double standards I'm talking about. You see, this guy, he's not exactly on the yellow line, but he's not exactly touching this one. I was touching that yellow line, you see, well, not that particular one. And that's what caused all the problems. But look, you see, double standards. If they're so concerned about other residents, why the hell did they allow this? You see, there isn't enough parking spaces in the place for the amount of residents. So they have to do this. And you'll find that they do this all over Thailand. So I got a bee in my, but didn't get a bee in my bonnet, but they got a bee in their bonnet about it. And it just highlights the fact that there's so many little rules that you have to abide by about, you know, every car here have their wheels straight. Every single one. I mean, big deal. Everything is uniformed. Sorry, I'm not uniform. So that's a little bit about what you might need to know before you come here. You see, you can choose where you want to live. I mean, not everything about the car parking, by the way, that you can more or less say it's par for the course here. But the trees covering the pool area and the condos, maybe you probably won't find that elsewhere, because you might be in a high-rise place or whatever it is. This is a lovely place to live, don't get me wrong. But some of the rules about, like, car parking and cooking, and something else I left out there as well, you can't play music at all. I was swimming one day and I had the BBC World Service on, and it was audible from about, I don't know, 5 meters, and from anywhere after 5 meters you could hear it, but it wouldn't be necessarily audible as you know, you could hear what was going on. And I was asked to turn it off. Somebody had complained that I was listening, not I was listening to, but there was noise. It wasn't music, it was World Service. So be aware of these things before you come here. Things that may infuriate you, because I'm telling you, you will find things that infuriate you. But the bottom line here, and this is what I keep saying, if people think that I'm negative about Thailand, it's not. All you got to do is look at my other channel, The Big Picture, El Panorama, and you'll see how positive I am and how good things are here. But this is just a real account of life in Thailand. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click the like button, click the share button, do all those wonderful things, and I'll bring you back another wonderful video very soon. Thanks for joining me.